Hey everybody, welcome, welcome to Hidden Horror. Thank you for spending this time with me. I appreciate that. Let's get started. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Hidden Horror. Today, I'm starting a new collection. I'm going to call the collection Monster. Once you get into this collection and listen to the videos, you will clearly understand why. I've run across over the years a lot of heinous cases. Some involving children, but some involving adults also. The first two cases that I'm bringing, the first one is Takota Collins. The second one I'm not quite sure about. I'm still on the fence about, but today I'm bringing the case of Takoda Collins. He was a 10-year-old boy in Ohio, and for several years, his father, he abused him. He would hit him every day. He would make him initially eat his own feces. Takota was so afraid, had so much fear of his dad, he would begin to start eating his own feces out of fear of his father. His father, at one point, he gained custody of him. He stopped sending him to school. And a lot of his reasoning is Takota, he had behavioral issues, behavioral problems. And this is what he justified his own actions in hitting him, beating him, mistreating him, abusing him physically, and what we've learned sexually. Now, in this home, I don't even know if I can call it a home because I'm sure it was not a home for Takota. He was forced to live on the second floor in a space where his feces, his urine was. His bed was not a bed, it was a tarp on the ground. He didn't go to school. His dad decided to homeschool him. And in the house, his girlfriend and her sister, as well as other children, were on the first floor. They watched for many years as Takota was punched, hit, dragged, stepped on, just brutalized. So I'm bringing this monster case to show what evil looks like. And also, people that are close in the vicinity, that are fully aware of what's going on, how they allow it to happen. They don't call for help. They don't get Takota any help. They don't call the police. They don't call the Department of Human Health and Services. They don't do anything. They just exist and watch this small, this frail 10-year-old be beaten, having bruises all over his body. It's truly one of the saddest cases that's documented. So let me begin. I'm going to start with an article, and then we're going to have several video detailing what happened to Takota. The article is from DaytonDailyNews.com. It's titled Judge in Takota Collins Death Case. What you did was pure evil. You deserve no mercy from this court. Just so you know, if we fast forward everything, Dad gets 51 years, which to me is generous. His girlfriend gets 22 years. I think it's 22 to 27 years. And her sister, who also lived in the house and was aware of what was going on and witnessed what happened to Takota, she received 8 years. This article is dated September 30th, 2021. It's by Parker Perry. A judge told a Dayton father who killed his 10-year-old son, Takota, after abusing and torturing him for years, that he showed the boy no mercy and that the judge in turn wasn't going to show mercy. This is the most horrific case of abuse and torture that this court has ever seen. Montgomery County Judge Dennis Atkins told Al Mutahan McLean is not just a murder, but it's years of physical abuse, torture leading up to someone's death. McLean, 32, was sentenced to the maximum sentence he could under a plea deal, life in prison with the possibility of parole after 51 years. He previously pleaded guilty to murder or kidnapping and endangering children. Meanwhile, McLean's girlfriend, Amanda Hens, who prosecutors said facilitated the abuse and did nothing to stop it, was sentenced to at least 22 years in prison. Hens' sister, Jennifer Ebert, who lived in the home on Kensington Drive and also was alleged to have played a role in allowing the abuse, got 8 years in prison. The horrific case and a Dayton Daily News investigation that followed has led to a number of changes at the local level and the introduction of state legislation. This newspaper's investigation uncovered that police were called to Takota's home multiple times before his death. It was also revealed that Montgomery County Children's Services were called multiple times about Takota. And that could be referring to when Takota jumped out of a window to try to get away from this home, his dad, the abuse, the torture that was inflicted upon him for years. Prosecutor Mac Haig Jr. said he and his office have met with teachers, caseworkers, law enforcement, and others to overhaul how child abuse investigations are reported and investigated so that what happened to Takota Collins would never happen to another child in Montgomery County. He said, so far, there has been an increase of more than 30% in the number of cases being referred from children's services to the prosecutor's office. Dayton Police has changed its policy for how welfare checks on children are handled. Montgomery County Children's Services said the case added urgency for the department to fine tune its policies, including increased training on procedures when dealing with uncooperative parents or guardians. And it also motivated Ohio Representative Phil Plummer, a Republican from Butler Township, to introduce a bill that seeks to reform the way county children's services operate. Ohio House Bill 4 would create an ombudsman office to oversee children's services, create a mandate that county offices create a memorandum of understanding of their obligations that the state must approve, mandates that children's services must disclose their reports to the local, state, or federal government entity, that county children's services offices must follow up with reporters to let them know their concerns were investigated, and it allows a juvenile court judge to order an interview or an investigation when a parent refuses access to a child. The bill has passed the House and is currently in the Senate. Prosecutors said Dakota lived in hellish conditions, being beaten, locked in an attic, and forced to stand in painful punishment poses for long hours. Prosecutors said a doctor who examined Takota after he died said the boy's bruisings was the type of injury typically observed in catastrophic events like a severe car accident. Another doctor found that Takota was battered from head to toe with hundreds of lacerations and abrasions to his head, face, mouth, neck, and other areas of his body. In a sentencing memorandum filed before the hearing, prosecutors said Takota was punched, elbowed, and stood on in the hours leading up to his death. Still not satisfied that Takota was sufficiently compliant, defendant McLean threw the child around some more and grabbed him by the ears and dragged him down the steps, the memorandum says. Defendant took the child into the bathroom and told him to clean his shorts when Takota again did not move fast enough. He was told to move faster or he was going to be drowned. Defendant Jennifer Ebert from the living room then heard splashing and Takota gasping for air. The Montgomery County Coroner's Office said Takota's 2019 death was a homicide, ruling he died of blunt force trauma in combination with compressive asphyxia and water submersion in a bathtub. The defense said in their memorandum that McLean took responsibility for his son's death, but that he didn't abuse his son for years. Al, without reservation, accepts that his actions resulted in the death of his son. The document says he does not forgive himself nor point blame toward anyone else. He does, however, express concern for narratives being offered by others, either vilifying him based upon a false history or recreating their own false history of involvement with his son. McLean, who will have to register as a Tier 3 sex offender and a violent offender if he is released from prison, did not speak during the sentencing. Heck said after the sentencing that the punishment for the three was justice for Takota. When this case first came to the attention of the Dayton Police Department and ultimately my office, no one had any idea and simply could not even fathom the extent of the depravity, the wickedness of the three defendants who were sentenced today in their treatment to Takota Collins, Heck said. Linda Dodd, the chief prosecutor on the case, said there was little chance that McLean would ever be freed from prison. She and Heck said that the office explored the possibility of seeking the death penalty in the case, but because the evidence didn't show McLean purposely killed Takota, they could not pursue that option. If he's telling his son he's going to drown him, he's beaten him throughout the day, dragging him by his ears, putting him in the tub, drowning him, choking him. That's torture. That's abuse. There was certainly purposeful torture, Dodd said. There was no evidence that he intended to kill Takota that day. He just intended to horrifically torture him that day that led to his death. During McLean's sentencing, Atkins also took some time to talk about how the system failed Takota. Atkins said he felt that teachers did everything they could to help Takota, but others could have done more. Children's Services just absolutely dropped the ball on this case, Atkins said. They were told what was going on, what was suspected of going on, and they merely went through the motions to check on the welfare of Takota. They were very good at passing the buck, and you, McLean, were very good at manipulating Children's Services. And while the judge noted that there was blame to go around, he said that it was McLean who was the primary offender. It was you alone who abused, tortured, and killed your son, Atkins said. What you did was pure evil. You provided no mercy to your son and deserve no mercy from this court. Let's get started. We're going to get to the first video. We have a couple of videos. The first video is the longest video. It's about an hour long. The preceding videos are probably less than 5 minutes each, but we're going to get into this. We want to know what happened to Takota. Why didn't anyone in the house help him? Why didn't they help him? Let's get started.
Location of your emergency? Yes. My son is unresponsive right now. He got something coming out of his mouth. What do you think is coming out? I'm not sure what it is. I know he likes to eat his own poop and lay in his own pee all day.
He can't get to eat his breakfast. He don't want to eat his breakfast. All he want to do is eat his feces. So
he said he pulled it out and he was squirting blood.
Yeah.
The tarp?
On the tarp. No, he pulled the stick out. Or whatever, the stool piece. He pulled it out.
If you're already appalled, you're not even 1% ready for what this 30-year-old man, Almutahan McLean, is going to share, do, and act out in this video. On December 16, 2019, his son Takoda Collins was supposed to turn 11, but that celebration was one he would never see. Instead, on December 13th, Al made a 911 call that left everyone's blood boiling.
What do you think is coming out? I'm not sure what it is. Can you clean that out of his mouth a little bit? Take your fingers and clean it out of his mouth, just so he doesn't choke on anything? Yes, ma'am. I mean, just mental behavior. See, he just hurts himself all the time. Okay. He wake up, don't get his way, slam his head, eat it. All right, I understand. Okay. It never ends. Okay, are you cleaning whatever you can out of his mouth? Yes, ma'am. Okay, do you think he could have taken anything, or you have no idea? I know he likes to eat his own poop and lay in his own pee all day. Okay. He won't stop at no cost. Okay, so if he's breathing, let him breathe. We're going to go ahead and start CPR, okay? So keep him bleeding where he is, okay? Okay. I'm blowing in his breath. Okay. And it smells real rotten in the inside of his stomach. Is he breathing? And you're going to blow 2 breaths into his mouth, okay? You're going to cover his mouth with your mouth. Go ahead.
My name is Lucy, and I have to figure out who I am.
God.
1934 Kensington Street in Dayton, Ohio was a house of horrors. This time, though, things were different. The officers from the Dayton Police Department reached the house 8 minutes and 13 seconds after the 911 call was made. It would be the most terrible thing they would see in their entire career. Al was waiting for them at the door, while his biological son, Takota, was inside. While the officers were trying to help Takota, Al was busy telling Officer Evans about what a terrible child he was. While you already have a hint that something is wrong with Al, all his secrets lie behind just one question. What happened that day? No doubt the police had the same question, so he was taken to the station for a round of questioning.
What else you right here? And that blue chair? That blue chair right there.
We are going to be interviewing you in regards to the crime of a homicide. Okay.
Homicide, that's like premeditated.
Homicide is kind of a catch-all for somebody that died more than likely not of natural causes.
I mean,
makes sense? Yeah. So it kind of covers a lot of things. It could be murder, it could be...
That's the thing, I don't know.
Wouldn't you as a parent first have some emotion, but you're already thinking, oh, that's premeditated. I didn't premeditate his death. He died, yes, but I didn't plan this. Well, what is it when you tell your child you're going to drown them? You put them in a tub and you're drowning them. He's going to have water in his lungs. You beat him.
I don't even know why my child is dead. You heard? I still don't know.
If your child's dead?
No, they just told me he did, but they didn't tell me what killed him or anything like that. You know what I mean?
That's kind of what this opportunity is for you to tell us.
To discuss it with you.
There.
Right.
You were there. We weren't.
Right. So
this is once we go through your rights, this is your.
And this is really wild because he's literally like, they told me he's dead, but he's not supposed to be dead because he's been taking this abuse for years. I beat him, I punched him, I've stood on him, I've dragged him, I've hit him. He didn't die any of those other times. So why did he die today? Like what? This is wild.
Your opportunity to kind of tell us what happened today and how he died, how he became unresponsive because we weren't there.
Right.
Al's inquiry whether homicide means premeditated is a good but obvious strategy to gauge the detective's perception of the situation.
Okay. We want you to tell us, because we weren't there, what happened today.
Well, it's what happened. I ain't slept in about 3 days, right? Kid keep falling down the stairs, keep knocking his head around. It looked like something was wrong with his stomach last night that I noticed. And I gave him some water to throw up. You know what I mean? I had him drink like several cups of water because it looked very odd normal. And I know that he used to eat his own shit. So I just wanted to make sure that he was okay. So he drank the water. That was it. And I guess he goes back upstairs and acting out some more. I mean, jumping off the banister, everywhere, the usual, might I add. I've been dealing with this for probably like since he was 2 years old. He's been doing this. Yeah. And so I'm very tired. I ain't slept in 3 days. So I'm just sitting there. And here he come rolling down the stairs again. Ba-doom, ba-doom. So I told him to go back upstairs. A little while later, I go up there. I see a...
You know, why is his son isolated? Why is he the only one upstairs? He's upstairs. He's living alone. He doesn't have anyone to talk to. He doesn't have a TV. He doesn't have toys. He's sleeping on a tarp on the floor. He's not in contact with anyone. He doesn't go to school. It's just, you've isolated him. He's alone. He's alone upstairs by himself.
Stick in his ass like a chair leg. So I asked him, what is he doing? And he's just steady, you know what I mean? Just steady doing what he do. This ain't the first time he tried something like that. So I see blood on the ground and I asked him to pull it out. You know what I mean? Blood squirted immediately. Now I'm freaking out. I'm like, hurry up. You need to get downstairs so I can dish you in the shower. You know what I mean? And see what's going on. So at the time, I didn't think nothing of it. I just see that he bruised up as usual. Seeing he never stopped.
Let me just pause it for a minute. Let me set this stage. He goes upstairs to check on Takota. He's saying that he sees an object, some type of stick, inserted in his anus. He's telling him to pull it out. At some point, the stick is removed. He doesn't want to take responsibility for what happened. Okay? But when the stick is removed, blood is squirting out. And he's saying, I need to get you downstairs and put you in the shower. You're not getting him medical help. You're not rushing him to the hospital. You're not calling 911. Because this abuse is common. It's often. He's done this before. This is not a typical, normal response.
They find anyway, any type of way, anything to use just to put a bruise on his body. So as a parent, I just put him in the shower. I put him in the bathtub to try to, get some of the swelling to go down or whatever the situation may have been, clean him up, make sure he was good. So I'm sitting on the couch.
How are you going to get...
like, Dad, come here. Like, he like, Dad.
How are you going to get the swelling down? He's injured. He's badly injured. And you can visibly see that he's hurt. This is not normal.
And help. So I come up the stairs to help him. And that's when I noticed his body.
So that means that he took him back upstairs after this shower bathroom situation where he says he's cleaning him up. He then puts him back upstairs to be alone.
Body was cold, very, very, very cold. So I took him downstairs and tried to rinse him off, to see if he'd shake out of it, wake up. I had no clue of knowing that he was sick to that extent, or that this is gonna go anywhere near this far. I just figured he was going.
He's saying that what he's not saying is, I put him in the shower, I put him back upstairs, I went to check on him again, and he's cold. He's shocked. He's surprised. He's stunned that he hasn't rebounded. He hasn't bounced back. Hey, I tried to wake you up. I gave you water. I cleaned you up. The swelling isn't going down. You're injured. There's blood everywhere. You're not getting back up. You're not moving. You're cold to the touch. I'm afraid now This has gone too far. It's gone too far. You're not getting up. You're not waking up. You're not moving.
On his normal acting out. I mean, he was kind of tweaking a little bit, you know what I mean? But yeah, as far as just, you know, like this. This is my way of describing it, you know, just like this. But this is something that he done pulled for many years. I mean, all the time, damn near every day. Every time you don't want to have his way, this is what he's pulling. Can't get him to eat his breakfast. He don't want to eat his breakfast. All he want to do is eat his feces. So I'm like, all right, at this point, there's nothing I can do but let him sit there and lay down. Okay. So,
So he wants us to believe that this child is given breakfast. He won't eat food, but he'll eat his feces. And his feces is because he's so afraid of being beaten. He's doing it now without being forced to do it. His dad forced him to eat his own feces. And he's in total fear of his father. Total fear.
like I said, he said, Dad, help. And I came up the stairs. That's why I'm shocked. Right now, I'm not even crying or nothing. I'm just like in shock. Like, my child really dead? How? You hear me? Is what I don't understand. Now, I know them girls that ain't do nothing to him and kill him. I mean, I just don't understand it. I'm very serious. That's where I'm at. It was shocking.
What he's referring to is he knows that his girlfriend and her sister didn't harm him because they weren't a part of the abuse. They were in the home, but they didn't, from all reports, everything I read, they weren't involved in the physical abuse, the beatings, the hittings, the torturing him. They just saw it happen, but they weren't engaging, involved, active in it. So that's what he's saying. He didn't think the girls did anything. No, you killed your son through how you treated him, how you tried to drown him, how you tortured him, how you beat him, how you stood your big, tall self. You stood on top of his body. You're not allowing him to breathe. You're crushing his lungs. You beat him. You dragged him. You tried to drown him. You choked him. And you're surprised?
Yeah.
Al seems to be laying the groundwork for a narrative where his abusive actions can be painted as reactions towards a difficult child, which brings us to Al's discussion about Takota eating his own feces. What you're about to hear now will make a shiver run down your spine. Takota was a normal child born in a dysfunctional family. When Al's 3-year-old brother came to live with the family, Takota's clothes
Look at the pictures.
were taken away, and he was made to live in the attic upstairs because Al considered Takota a threat to his little brother. So a new house rule was made. Takota could only use the restroom when Al's brother was.
Look at the feces all on the ground. Look at the cages. Those cages are for pets, for animals. That's why it would smell up there. It's feces all over the floor. Even an animal isn't expected to live like this. You have a child living like this, sleeping in like this, smelling this. There's no windows.
Was asleep. Takota ate food like the rest of us until one day when he defecated in the attic because he wasn't allowed downstairs. Al, in a fit of rage, thought the best way to clean the attic was to compel Takota to eat his feces. Takota refused, cried, and begged, only to have Al wear a glove and force feed him. Ever since then, Takota continued to do this as he thought he'd be beaten up more than usual if he didn't.
Yeah, my little brother started living with us, right? And about want to get aggressive with him and, you know what I mean, try to take his clothes off in front of him and stuff like that. So, I mean, I had to protect him. I had to just send Takota upstairs. I mean, the living environment, it was fine. It wasn't, it was perfect.
Was that living environment fine to you? Was there any ability to live, to see outside, to have fresh air, to sleep? You don't even have a place to use the restroom, wash your hands, no TV, not a toy, nothing. Alone every day?
Actually, when he went up there, he didn't stink. He had a bed, he had clothes, he had everything he wanted. But
where was the bed? I saw dog or animal cages.
This is the point that I'm trying to make as a parent. This is how far this should go. I mean, I had social services done.
He's not a parent. He's a monster. He's a bully. He's a monster. And he took pleasure in punching and beating and stomping and abusing and torturing his small son, forcing him to eat feces.
Out there, I called the police. The police told me he was being unruly and that when he got a little older, they'll be able to, put him in some type of juvenile center. And I mean, this is the day after he jumped out the window. I mean, I'm traumatized.
Why would his son jump out of a window? Where was the help for Takota? He's traumatized. You're traumatized. You're somehow the victim. No way.
Every day, it's a new show.
Here we have two sides. First, there's Al lying through his teeth, saying he was trying to take care of Coda and provide him with everything that he needed. The second is the data that the police have already collected, which highlights Al's failure to provide proper food, clothing, and sanitary living conditions for his son. Takota hadn't just jumped out of the window for fun. It was his fight or flight reflex. Now, whose side you believe is your choice.
Like, he would come down, I would invite him to watch TV. He's my son, he was handsome, he looked just like me. You know what I mean? And I would invite him to sit down, watch TV, and this, that, and the third. And he would just, and I mean, the smell was so loud, I can go up there and clean it every day. And
he didn't clean up. He didn't clean up this area. All of that feces up there was days and days and days of bowel movements. You didn't allow your son to use the bathroom. Something that I won't even say it. You didn't ask him to watch TV with you. You didn't want to smell the odor because you were really disgusted by it. You didn't allow him to use the bathroom, to take a shower every day. You didn't want him near you.
5 years from now, you'll probably smell it. So if it was the fumes, I don't know what it was. I mean, I did everything in my power. That bucket that was upstairs, I used to put soap and water in it and have him clean it up. Clean the floor up, clean your walls, clean it up. Like, it's just unbearable. I'm downstairs on the couch. I can't even sleep because the smell is so strong. Yeah.
But but you allowed your child to live, to exist, to sleep, to eat in an area that you didn't even want to go in. That's why you stayed downstairs, because you didn't have to see it, you didn't have to smell it.
I mean, outrageous. And he getting put in the shower every day on a regular, you know what I mean? But regardless, it'd be like you never put a drop of water or soap on him. It's very shocking right now, the fact that he did. I mean, I never thought that he would end up dead. I figured if he eat his own poop, I even Googled it, like, will it hurt you? And they was like, nah, you know.
Listen to that. He Googled if eating your own poop would hurt you. What loving parent, what human being would allow a child to eat their own feces?
To a certain extent, you know what I mean? Just to see, because I mean, I was to the point where, what am I supposed to do? Call the police and be like, oh, my son is over here eating today?
Did you ever take him to the doctor?
Yeah, he's been to the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the doctor?
It's been
After Takoda's death, it was reported that he had over 100 bruises and lacerations on his head, his arms, all over his body. You didn't take him to the doctor. He had old bruises and he had new bruises. You didn't take him to see a medical doctor to get any medical care or attention. He's a liar.
And so long, I don't even know. I just know it's probably like when my health insurance ran out, probably close to 3 years ago.
So the kid hasn't seen a doctor in 3 years?
Yeah, but he been to the hospital in less than that.
When
So
was he
he
at the hospital?
probably like a year ago when he jumped out the window.
Baby children?
Yeah, he always been very
So he only had him go to the doctor when he jumped out the window.
healthy.
Where did you take him to the doctor?
I only took him to the hospital, and I only took him to the doctor when he needed it, and it won't nothing wrong with him.
He's eating his own feces. There's something wrong with him.
I mean, but besides the fact, now I took that into consideration. He's been to counseling his whole life. See, I could tell y'all.
So where did he go to therapy at?
He ain't been to therapy in a little while.
So he's on his
He has been, I'd say, probably like 4 years ago.
So he's been in counseling for 4 years, but he's been in the whole way.
Maybe off and on. I probably had some online counseling services or online counselors talk to him. But
where did he go to school?
he's homeschooled. Thank you. But the thing is, like, when I did have counselors speak to him, he would play them so slick to the point where they'd be like, you know, he's all good and golden. Like, they wouldn't believe the stories that I tell them.
Nobody knows what he means. He's using words like probably to answer whether Takoda had access to therapy and counseling. How can he probably be getting that? Who was ensuring it if not Al himself? Al is framing his sentences as if Takoda lived in the lap of luxury. In reality, Takoda was denied basic amenities and essential medical care when he needed it most. Despite Al's big claims, he never took Takoda to the hospital except when Takoda jumped out of a window to escape Al's beating.
Hi, we're Visible. Get set to travel this summer with a wireless plan that'll keep you connected on the go.
Since that day, Al had the window locked and covered, making the attic even more of a dungeon of punishment. At this point, it seems like whatever Al is saying is not just him trying to deflect his guilt, but also a sad effort of trying to fool the detectives. It leaves no doubt that Al's personality borders into psychopathy.
He got suspended, so where did he go to school?
He was going to Horseman. He's been homeschooled for the last 2 years.
Who's homeschooling him?
I was. Yep.
Why do you have to think about that?
My lip hurt. I'm just like, you know, I've been up for 3 days. As I'm telling you, I still haven't took a nap, been to sleep. So I'm doing my best.
And you've been up for 3 days because he's been walking into walls and falling down?
Not 3 days straight, but every now and then. I mean, he would go maybe one day, yeah, pretty much, or yelling. No, he was just yelling and screaming.
That's different than what you told us earlier, though.
No, that's what he do every day. But what I'm saying is, what kept me up was his tone, yelling, screaming, singing, dancing. Boy, it's 3 a.m, no sleep.
Okay, so you homeschooling?
Yes.
What grade is he in?
5th grade.
So I want to talk about today. You said you haven't been to sleep, is that right?
I still haven't, no ma'am.
Okay. So what happened when he woke up this morning then?
He never went to sleep.
Okay, so then what happened? What's been going on since 6 a.m. this morning?
So 6 a.m. this morning, I look at the camera. I see him plunging on his table. I mean, his chair. I don't think nothing about it. I'm just like, you know, he's doing his normal weird things. So sometimes I felt like ignorance was the best answer because
So he had a camera that he could watch his son. So where's the footage? Where's the footage throughout these days up until his death? I would like to know that. Did he delete the footage? Did he dismantle the system?
He was basically just seeking attention at any cost. You know what I mean? Any cost. He's been dealing with this since he was younger. He's been in the system since he was 2 years old. Anytime he didn't have his way, he'd make sure CPS show up at the house.
Okay, so keep going with your
And he would tell him just anything. You know, the most outlandish thing. And then he said, kill myself. Or I'm gonna this, that, and the third. And then come home and how's the day? Everything was fine.
People who abuse their own kids often have a few common traits. So is Al a product of a traumatic past, a frustrated parent, or just someone who missed the memo on basic empathy? Without any background information into Al's early years, it remains a guessing game. He, however, did have a rocky relationship with Takoda's mother and had an ugly custody battle with her. In fact, Takoda's mother, Robin Collins, did try to help her son.
Okay, and what's the custody situation with you guys? He has full custody. Our custody agreement is that he's supposed to bring him back to the state 4 times a year.
Why would she let him get full custody? Did she not see this when she was with him? His behaviors, his mindset, his anger, his abusive tendencies? Why would she let him get full custody of her son?
Here, I'm supposed to have phone conversations with him once a week, talk to his schooling, and talk to his doctors. He has not abided by the court order in 4 years. I did not know where he was living because he was supposed to be living in Erie, Pennsylvania. Thank God that he caught a drunk driving in Dayton, Ohio, and now I have his address. I've been trying to work with him to talk to my son, and he gave me a bunch of things that are very concerning. He locked him in his room. He tried to jump out a window. He sent him to school in a diaper. He pulled him out of school.
So he tried to jump out a window. He sent him to school in a diaper. Takota is 10 years old. Why would he be wearing a diaper at 10 years old?
Whipped him with a belt. Just a bunch of stuff that's very concerning to me.
While making this call for a welfare check, Robin had no idea her son would die in a few months. Even though Robin couldn't reach him, doesn't mean Al was handling Takota alone. He had been living with his 28-year-old girlfriend, Amanda Hines, and her 25-year-old sister, Ebert. So naturally, we have to question what Amanda and Jennifer were doing when Al was making Takota go through hell.
Did they say what happened? Huh? Did they say how he died? What happened? They didn't say. That's why we want to talk to you. Okay, where was the Takota? I think he's in the bathtub. I heard him in the bathtub. He was in the bathtub? Mm-hmm. He should have been taking a bath because I woke up and I was still in my pajamas. I just left. I didn't even get anything to drink or use the bathroom. You didn't think you just like went without brushing your teeth or anything? Yeah, I just got I thought it was later what it was. I get to the bank before I closed. I had bills to pay, so I had to hurry and get the money in there. She had to work till 11, so I came back home. So you were gonna get over to her house? Mm-hmm. I went over there for Thanksgiving. Who's your friend? Victoria. And she works at Walgreens? Mm-hmm. Who was in there? Was he in there with anybody? The door was closed. He was by himself. Where was everybody else? My sister was in her room, and Josiah was in the toy room playing. And where was Al? He was sitting on the couch. Did you guys talk at all before you left? I just said, I gotta run to the bank. I'll be back. He didn't even answer the phone. I was trying to call him, and his phone was off. So he had his phone off? Mm-hmm. I was trying to ask if he needed anything while I was out. But it's not unusual. His phone is always off. So how long have you guys been together? 8 years in there.
So that lets you know that she was around for primarily all of the abuse of Takota, because she's been with Al McLean for 8 years. 8 years.
And he has other children. Mm-hmm. He has other children, right? Where are they? North Carolina, last I knew. He's living with his mother. Living with him? Your mother. Why is so Takota was the only one that you guys had? Mm-hmm. So tell me about Takota. What about him? I mean, just kind of tell me about him. I don't know anything about him. Mm-hmm. Well, when we first got together, he was fighting for custody of him in Wisconsin. That's how we met. He got overnight visits with him, and he was a good kid. Bounced around foster home. Then after.
Let's pause it right there. So she's saying that he had fought for custody of Takota when they were in Wisconsin, and that's how she met him. And that Takota was a good kid, and he was being bounced around from one foster home to another foster home. So that lets us know that Takota's mom, she did not have the custody, that Takota was in the system in Wisconsin.
Probably a few years after we got custody, we moved here in 2014. He went to school at Horseman. He had a lot of behavior problems. He was going to get kicked out of school.
Okay, so let's pause it here. So in 2014, they moved to Dayton, Ohio. He's enrolled in school at Horace Mann, but he's having some behavioral problems. And I guess they were going to kick him out of school, which I guess that necessitated the homeschooling. I think when you isolate a kid, when they're not around their peers, they're not having those interactions, socialization, even if they do have behavioral issues, right? He was in foster care. He was bounced around. He may have had some issues, but it doesn't make it better if he's then isolated and not leaving the house, not going to school on a daily basis.
So we just decided to homeschool to see if that will work. He just didn't listen. He didn't want to have behavior problems. The therapist said that he didn't need therapy. He was only in therapy a couple of times.
I would like to know how long he was in therapy, what he initially was going to therapy about, what he discussed in therapy, and how did the therapist determine he didn't need any therapy? If he had these issues going from foster care home to foster care home, if he's having behavioral issues at school, she's saying that when she got him, he didn't listen. So I wonder what work did the therapist do to determine that he didn't need therapy, or if this is even a true statement. May not be a true statement.
Yeah. Hurt me with the knife one time, so I took all the knives away. And I just put them in my bedroom.
So Josiah, whose baby is Josiah?
It's Al's brother.
His mom's baby?
Yes.
Or dad's?
His mom's. I don't think they know their fathers.
Okay. So how do you guys have him?
She left him with us, and we were just taking care of him. I haven't talked to her in a while. She's, I don't know if she's in jail or what. I haven't talked to her.
She like just dropped him off and
We went and picked him up. When we picked him up, he had really bad diaper rash. He was underweight. He was with his aunt, which is her sister. She wasn't taking care of him. She sold all the stuff, so we went and picked him up.
and you've had him pretty much his whole life?
Mm-hmm. He was like a year old. I mean, I think Al talks to his mother, but I don't, so I don't know what her plans were. I haven't spoken to her in a good year or so.
So where does everybody in the house, like, where do they sleep?
Well, Al and I have our bedroom, and just on the couch, just here. Then there's a bedroom across from us, which is where Skull sleeps at. And then my sister kind of made her bedroom in the back.
So she just said that there's a bedroom across from them where Takota would sleep, but we already know that he's on the above floor in like the attic area, sleeping on a tarp. So why is she telling her that he's across from them when we know that's not true?
The house.
Okay, so I mean, Takota stays in the bedroom
across from mine.
Right, Josiah doesn't stay in there at all?
He naps in there.
Okay.
And some of my sisters at.
Yeah, she's we just put her in a different room.
Bipolar and ADHD depression, and she's not all there. She's got a lot of disabilities, so I'm not sure she's all right.
She's not all there, like.
She has a learning disability. She doesn't talk much.
I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable with this. I don't care. I'm gonna tell everything. I guess I don't know what else I'm gonna talk because I'm not going down for this no more.
Okay.
For someone who doesn't talk much, Jennifer seems to be ready to confess right away.
He would make him sit on it with his legs wide open because I don't know the whole reason.
He would sit on it when it was part of the chair?
Yeah, when it was all together. Because he wouldn't stand still with his legs crossed, hands behind his head. And then he brought that home one day and made him sit on it. I don't know. So she's saying that Takota's father made him sit on the chair leg. She's trying not to say it, but she keeps saying he made him sit on it. One day, he made him sit on it. I think she's referring to, if you flip the chair over and it has the 4 legs, I think she's referring to the chair leg. Really? I wanted to just give me his arms. But then he would just call us to make if he would come up with some stupid story when if we ever did, he would just say, oh, I'll just say this and that, and I don't know, it's just.
He just make excuses. I mean, does he drink? Is it when he drinks, or is he just an angry person?
Both.
Does it get worse if he drinks?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Does he drink a lot? Really? Is that what he does all day?
He would usually go out when about, I'd say about 2, 3 in the afternoon, sometimes 4, and don't come home about 2, 3 in the morning.
Does he ever abuse your sister?
So he's not working, but he's going out and he's drinking and he's away from the home many hours of the day. Why doesn't he have a job? He used to when they lived in Wisconsin, but now he just throws things at the floor and punches walls.
Or takes it out on Takota?
That's it.
So Takota pees the bed, is that kind of what his trauma is with him?
Yeah, really, and like he, I noticed last maybe week or so he didn't go poop in the toilets. I'm told to watch him because he likes to rub poop everywhere. So I kind of just peek in on him, see what he's doing. You know, not trying to be gross or anything, but and then I noticed that he doesn't poop in the toilet, and so I told Al about that. So he asked him, fat. Like I didn't know what was going on. I just thought that he just gained weight overnight. Just so guess I could have fed him food, really good food. So.
Did he actually eat though? Like
Yeah, because there's no. What's that?
Did he come down and eat with you guys?
No, we gave him some bowls and a bowl and sent it upstairs.
You had to stay.
So she's saying that even when it came to the meals, she would take his food upstairs and put it in a bowl for him to eat. He didn't even eat with them as a family.
Upstairs to eat?
Yeah.
What did he eat?
No, usually what we eat, like pizza and macaroni and cheese and everything. But yeah, so this morning I gave him bagels and peanut butter. Yeah, usually. And then lately I've been just giving everything that Joe eats is what I give him. So I don't know what's all going on with that.
Are you the one responsible for feeding him for all the meals?
Yeah.
So when you go up and feed him, is he back in that locked area then?
No, he's just, when you just go upstairs, he's right next to the railing.
Okay. So he was in that area. Was the other area locked off or?
Yeah, because that's the window he was in there before, but that's when he jumped out the window and plus the ceilings all falling down and everything.
That's where he jumped out the window up there?
Yeah, that's why it's boarded up there.
And that's probably because he was being kept up there?
So she's saying that the ceilings are falling down upstairs, but there was a window, and that's the window that Takota tried to jump out of, but now they have boarded it up. Yeah, that too.
Huh.
So I know that I kind of missed parts, so I just want to make sure that I understand everything, and I apologize if I'm repeating stuff. But so Al got pissed off this morning because Takota woke him up by walking into things.
Well, yeah, falling down into the bathroom door and all the bathtub.
Okay. So did Takota take a beating last night? Is that why he was so disoriented today?
He could have, but I went to bed early because I had to get up early. So I'm usually up about, I would say about 6:45 to the boys. Take care of them and everything.
Blaze? I'm sorry. Is that
to the boys? Okay.
the boys? Okay.
Yeah, get the boys, take care of them, and then go outside, take care of the dogs. I just don't know what to handle.
Yes, ma'am. That sounds like you do.
Yeah, just basically do everything when he goes out and drinks and she works.
Okay.
So you don't know if he got?
No, because I sleep with headphones on and my face mask, whatever they mean.
Do you do that so you don't hear the screaming?
It's just peaceful because I don't have a fan on back there and everything. It's just my door closed. I just don't hear anything really.
Okay, so it's fair to say maybe he did, maybe he didn't last night. So
she's saying to have peace, to have peaceful rest, she sleeps in a room, closes the door, puts something over her eyes, and then also has probably music or something, and that probably drains out the sound. If he is being beaten, screams are happening, she's not going to hear it. It's her escape. She's able to escape and get away and not have to really interject into this abuse. She closes the door. She doesn't see it. She puts something over her ears. She doesn't hear it. She puts something over her eyes. She's not seeing it. She doesn't have to do anything about it. It's her escape. While this young 10-year-old is being just tortured, beaten, abused.
Okay. But he gets beat on every day.
Pretty much. It's unusual we don't.
Okay. And did you ever try to take him to the doctor or get him medical help or anything?
No.
Can you explain that to me a little bit?
I don't know how. I tried, but he would come up with an excuse saying Takota is crazy and he does self-harm and everything. So he just comes up with an excuse that it's all Scott's fault.
So she's saying that she wanted to help him, but Al, Takoda's dad, would come up with excuses about, oh, it's self-harm, things like that. So she didn't do anything about it. She never got him any help.
Of like a stool or something? What was going on with that?
He would make him sit on it with his legs wide open.
Like I said, anytime that I put my hands on him, it was to keep him from hurting himself. And I mean, far as I wouldn't beat him with anything, I would just grab him and like, hey, enough's enough, like arms behind your back, like the police do, you know what I mean? It was never punch you in the eye or slam you or, you know what I mean? Never. All right, I'll get up around, say about 8 o'clock, go get him his breakfast and stuff like that. So I go up there, and he's laying on his tarp, and he got it in his butt. I'm like, what the hell do you think you're doing? I say, pull it out right now. He wants to get the wrestling, and you know what I mean? Either way.
I don't know what you mean, because I don't live in your house. So
well, he want to get wrestling and aggressive. Like, he don't want me to take it out of him, and he don't want me to have it, period. You know? So I grab it out. Blood squirt. Yep. And he started dripping. So put him in the shower. I put him in the bathtub, and I tried to clean it up and look at it to see if it was worth me taking him to the ER right away.
Was it worth him taking him to the ER right away? This is his fear. It's a fear of being exposed, being held accountable. So guess what he does? He doesn't help his son, who he described himself. You heard his words. Handsome like me. He doesn't help him at all because he's the one that injured him. He hurt him.
But to the eye, I'm not a doctor. It didn't look that bad. So I'm just thinking.
What did you see?
Just like his butt, a hole with a little blood. Because I checked it out afterwards. I'm like, whoa, we see. And she then did. And it was just looked a little swollen. Okay. You know.
Didn't see any injuries or anything?
Nothing too heavy. I see his butt swollen and his legs and his arms and all that, but I see that every day. Okay. It's not a day.
Because you're beating him every day.
And another one. Okay. And here's the thing, as a parent, I'm afraid, I was concerned, like, damn, if I take him anywhere, they're going to be looking at me like I did this. You know?
Concerned for himself. He's beating Takota every single day. Every day. Bruising, lacerations, all over his body.
So at the same time, I was trying to just get him better to where he didn't have any bruises, and then I can take him somewhere and see about possibly more therapy or something like that.
So you know he needed some sort of treatment.
It started to hit me. at the last phases, like his last week, he came downstairs and like I said, showered him up. He went back upstairs, told him to eat his breakfast. He didn't eat it. He just laid on his bed and he didn't eat it. So I'm like, I'll just wait a while. I'm like, eventually he'll get hungry, he'll eat. He always eat. He beg for food. He's never he want more and more. It depends on what it is. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, some more, yeah, some more, some more. Sure, you get some more.
That 20 hours later?
Not even 20 hours later. We're talking maybe 3 hours later.
Okay.
So I'm just sitting there like, I'm going to check on his body again, a couple hours.
You heard what he just said? He didn't say he was going to check on his son. He didn't say he was going to check on Takota. He didn't say he was going to check on him. He said, I'm going to check on his body, which lets us know that's like a Freudian slip. He knows he's already gone. He's dead. I'm going to check on his body. Check on his body for what? To see if he's moved? Right? Let's see if I can just rewind that. Like,
dead and he didn't eat it. So I'm like, I'll just wait a while. I'm like, eventually he'll get hungry, he'll eat. He always eat. He beg for food. He's never he want more and more. It depends on what it is. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, some more, yeah, some more, some more. Sure, you get some more.
That 20 hours later?
Not even 20 hours later. We're talking maybe 3 hours later.
Okay.
So I'm just sitting there like, I'm going to check on his body again, a couple hours. There's the time to cool off and check on it. So
did you notice how he said check on his body and check on it? Al's choice of words provides a glimpse into his subconscious habit of treating Takota as an object rather than a person. And the reality wasn't very different. Takota wasn't just lightly dragged. Al had pulled him down the stairs by gripping his ear. Prior to that, Al had even stood on top of Takota, but apparently that wasn't sufficient. So he utilized the attic ceiling to exert additional force, resulting in Takota having multiple broken ribs. Yet if you find this unbearable to hear, it was sadly not a unique occurrence for Takota. He endured such abuse more frequently than you would want to imagine.
So where does he go to school now?
He's homeschooled.
By who?
Me. I give homework assignments. I usually put them off at the library, and then I give them to my sister to give to him. And then he reads the books and all that, like the paperwork. So usually on the tablet, then there's a bedroom across from us, which is where school sleeps at. And then my sister kind of made her bedroom in the back of the house. It's kind of like
Takota stays in the bedroom
across from mine.
Right, Josiah doesn't stay in there at all.
He naps in there.
So who goes in the upstairs?
But we leave it locked because it leaks. No, it's off limits.
So why is there urine and stuff up there?
Our dogs go up there sometimes.
And pee in buckets? You guys should train your dog to pee in buckets?
There's no buckets up there.
Yeah,
There's a swimming
urine in there.
There shouldn't be no buckets in there. The ceiling leaks. Well, the buckets are leak.
You stayed up there, right? When you were talking about him pooping and peeing and everything up there.
Yeah.
Things are definitely not adding up. But Al doesn't need anyone else to make him sound guilty. He's managing that all by himself.
So
And they start talking?
no, not much. So but he's still moving. His eyes is looking at me. He's doing his normal thing.
Oh, why they're looking at you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's
Right.
the normal thing?
Just the freak out that I was telling you about. The freak show.
Okay.
When did he throw up?
Yeah.
Remember when I told you he pushed off his bed and I checked on him, I seen throw up come out of his mouth?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make sure before I wasted the authorities' time that he was not playing around.
You get him down the stairs, and then after he's down the stairs, what happens?
Put him in the shower. Not the shower, but I lay him in the bathtub.
Okay.
At this point, the detectives aren't even trying to believe his story. They know that Al is trying to cover up his crime, but what he doesn't know is that nobody has believed his story yet, not even the very first person who interacted with him, the 911 dispatcher. A child is dead, and these adults can't stop lying. The detective is about to lose it now.
His marks on his body. I don't, he's tearing out, look at his body. I have no idea.
So you never noticed, you never realized he had these marks all over his body, on his arms, on his hands.
Oh,
You never noticed that stuff?
I usually don't. I usually leave.
That's someplace stupid. Okay, because I really don't have a lot of tolerance for stupid. You know what I mean?
While Al inflicted most of the abuse, Amanda staying quiet and lying at this point sounds just as bad.
How long did it take the police to get back when the medics got there?
The police is already here.
Police was already there?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
I try to cooperate with him and everything. Am I only one being charged here?
I don't think anybody's been charged yet.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on. You hear me?
Yep. So then the medics take him away, and that's the last thing you know.
And I'm in jail.
I'm sorry?
I said, yes, ma'am. Then I'm in jail.
You've been to jail?
This is jail. I mean, I was in that back room back there.
Right, but you've not been to jail.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
So I'm sitting back there. The whole time I'm just thinking my son gonna be all right, because I mean they put him in the back of the ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking he's gonna be all right. And I ain't gonna lie, this is another thing I want to say. When I went to give him CPR, and I was taking it, whatever it was, out his mouth, it smelled so rotten, so awful. That's why I'm still kind of curious. Like,
Al thinks waiting for a while in the cell was a bad experience, but little does he know what awaits him after this interrogation.
We're about to sit on the couch.
Sit on the couch.
Watching him. It's like a 24-hour watch. It only take him a second. The flip down the stairs over the rail. I mean, not nothing small.
So you watched him on the camera?
I was, yes.
Okay. How come we couldn't see that view of the camera when we were there?
That I don't know.
Did you disconnect the camera?
Not at all. My kids soak it down so good. I'm not exaggerating, man. Sometimes I go up there and I think I'm in the Pacific Ocean. How? I don't know. Can one get so much water? I mean, I monitor his water too. I hadn't given him more than he can bear or anything like that. You know what I mean? I try to give him enough to stay hydrated. And
okay. So these injuries that he has, they just appeared or?
No, he had them over time. I mean, but what was I supposed to do?
Take him to the doctor?
But look, here, I always assessed him, always checked him and made sure nothing was broken or too far bad in my eyes. I mean, because at the same time, you got to understand this. I done had social services at my house maybe 40, 50 times. I done had, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So for me to bring him to the doctor, like, oh, he cracked.
So if social services have been to the house 40 to 50 times, why didn't they do anything? Why didn't they remove Takota? Where was their help for Takota? If they saw the bruises, he said he had the bruises on his body all the time. When social services came, did he not bring Takota out? Was Takota hiding? Did they not see Takota? Because clearly if he had bruising all over his body, they would have had to do something. They would have to get him attention, remove him from this house.
His nugget again, and social services already told me the only way they're going to take him is if they charge me with something like neglect, or it's not, I can't do this. Can y'all please help me?
For all the years he's been raising, let's be honest, abusing Takota, Al has established a habitual inclination towards dishonesty. Admitting to the truth might amplify the legal and moral repercussions, which is a strong enough incentive to continue fabricating a narrative.
This goes on for days and days and days. I mean, I've seen him flip the table. I mean, he got the table flipped over, sticking his on the table. If you put this thing upside down and knock this back off, that's just straight ride out. But that's the kind of stuff he was into. I ain't never sexually harassed my child or do not like that. That's homophobic. And I mean, that's homo, and I ain't far from gay, you know what I mean? I ain't never played with their private parts. You see my little brother, correct? Healthy as an ox. We give them the same treatment. One just chooses to eat his food, and the other one chooses to eat it.
So your story, I just want to go back to this too. You said this morning, first thing this morning, I think you said around 6 a.m. on the camera, you noticed he was clenched, I think was your word.
Yeah.
So he is,
But I wasn't quite sure because the light was off.
okay. So like, there was like a yellow stool thing. Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He
So
must have snapped it off because last time I checked, it was still connected inside of the thing.
can you describe what you mean by plunging to me?
All right, so look. He had a chair like this.
Right.
You take the back off.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna sit flat on the ground.
Okay.
And I seen him going like this. You hear me? I wasn't telling it. I wasn't able
So
to
he's
tell.
putting the chair leg in his butt. That's what you're saying he's doing.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I wasn't able to tell if that's where he was going or if he was just taking another. Because every night he'll get up and do stuff like this. And just, slam it and scream, ah. You know what I mean? Now I'm like, what the f is going on? I gotta work. And I only do it on the days that I gotta work the most.
Where do you work?
If ever I did work, whenever I can, I try to go to a temp service leg work, but I can't never work there that often because of the anxiety, stress. I mean, I'm trying to hold it together.
So he's saying he can't work because of anxiety and stress. But you inflict all of this pain, anger, rage, abuse on your 10-year-old son, dying just days before his 11th birthday.
But
So this morning at 6 a.m. you see him, and I'm using your words, plunging on this chair.
not quite sure. I seen close to it, and that's what it looked like to me. It just
Did you
looked
see
like,
him do this before?
yeah, but usually with his fingers, and he tried a couple of toys one time. I told social services, I mean, they like, you can't stop him from being gay or you know what I mean?
So you think he's doing this because he's gay?
I'm not sure if he wanted to hurt his, I know he liked to hurt himself every day. It's a combination. I don't know.
And so then later on you said something about the tarp being up his butt?
The tarp being up his butt.
You said
No.
he pulled it out and he was squirting blood?
Yeah.
The tarp?
On the tarp. No, he pulled the stick out. Or whatever, the stool piece. He pulled it out of his. So I go up there. I'm like, get that out your. You know what I mean? Once the wrestle, I finally yank it out.
So you pulled it out of his butt?
Yep.
So how far in was it?
I can't say. That's the thing. I don't know.
You don't know?
Because I ripped it out so quick.
Okay.
Yeah,
And so
that's
then he
just
started
inappropriate.
squirting blood everywhere?
Not much. It was just like just a real little bit here, a little bit there. So I'm like, all right, let's have a look at it. You know what I mean? And all I see is it was swollen a little bit.
You didn't see any tears or cuts or?
Mm-mm.
No?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
All right.
Not at the time, no ma'am.
Okay.
And then he made him lay in the bed, and he was laying on his side, and then he was at the back of him. I don't know what he was doing out there. I couldn't see. And then he threw him back off the bed, drug him a little bit up from it. And then I know I was going on for 30 years. I should have done something. Very much paying attention to what was going on.
What was Takota doing? Was he crying, screaming?
Not at first. Well, at first he was, but when it was over, he was quiet.
If everything else wasn't enough, here comes the sexual abuse angle. A child who is already being abused in multiple ways could not possibly insert a stool leg or a tarp up himself. Apart from common sense, multiple testimonies and medical reports explain how Al was the one who was doing all this to his own kid. People, especially those who are secretly monsters, may seek a sense of power and control over vulnerable individuals, and children are unfortunately easy targets. Tragically, Takota died in the worst way possible, but it paled in comparison to the life of trauma he'd endured.
Okay. We were looking at your history. It looks like you had a couple, you got a couple things going on.
All small stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, like the child endangering. What was that?
My child I went to my baby mama house. I ain't even had custody of kids. I went to sleep a night at my baby mother house. Our kids was 3 and 4 years old. And one of them unlocked the door and went outside. And they was in their diapers playing in the front yard. And that's what it was about. My mom took the kids for a day or two and gave them right back to me.
Okay. There's one in here too for strangulation.
That was on a guy. That it was an even match. He attacked me and I defended myself. I'm not a violent person. I just defended myself.
So I'm trying to understand these marks all over him.
Like I said, every day.
He can't do that on his own.
Every day. Oh, he slams back. He runs, he jumps, and however land, and he lands. I mean it. Or, you know what you do? Excuse me, if you could just pay attention for a second. You know how you got that rail right here by the stairway?
Mm-hmm.
Boom. That's what he do to me. Boom. Hard as he can, just fall out.
Why?
I don't know why. I never understood it. It's all the name. All because he didn't get his way every time that he wanted it. It didn't take much to make him upset.
Well, I think we've talked to the other people here.
Okay.
And your story is not consistent with his injuries as theirs. Okay? I will tell you that.
I don't know what to say.
Well, it's your chance. Like, I understand if you were frustrated with him at different points because you hadn't slept, or because he would do things that bothered you or disgusted you. Here's your chance to say it. To blame him on him like he's doing it, when we know that's
the only thing I probably did is spank his bottom or hold him down to keep him from eating it. Everything else, I don't know nothing about.
Or put hot sauce on his butt so it'll burn.
That I did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
I know you did.
Yeah.
Why would he put hot sauce on his son? If the young lady that said the abuse had been going on for 3 years and she should have done something about it, why would you put hot sauce? That's like inflicting more pain. Why would you do something like that to your own child?
And why did you do that?
Just try to get him to quit cracking on himself. Yeah, my daddy did me like that when I was little. When I used to suck my thumb, he put some hot sauce on, I ain't put it in my mouth no more.
Now, while Al is being interrogated here, some officers were at his house searching for evidence of his crimes. Now, these detectives are taking a brief break, code for getting updates on the case. The comparison between a parent using hot sauce on a child's thumb to discourage thumb sucking and pouring hot sauce on Takota's buttocks suggests a stark contrast in context, intent, and consequence. Any sane person would understand that these two things are not on the same level, but not Al. All this is so disturbing that you might think this is it, right? Wrong. The truth was even worse.
So you telling me they saying that I beat him to death?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what they saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's very inaccurate.
Stop punching him, kicking him, elbowing him in the gut, smacking him across the head and everything. And then he recently started using a taser on him.
So she said smacking, punching him, elbowing him in the gut, and now he's tasering him. He's 10 years old, and he's using a taser on him.
And then then we got this metal spatula down or whatever that he used to beat him with it. Dakota was sitting on the toilet and he elbowed him in the back, and then he fell to the floor and he
Take your time.
started beating on him, and then he threw him in the bathtub and it sounded like he was drowning him. So he was talking to him and telling him he was going to drown him, and it sounded like that because all I heard was splashing because he wouldn't clean his shorts because he came down wet over this morning. And he took him back upstairs and threw him out. Then he made him lay on his stomach, hands behind the back, and he stepped on him.
The autopsy report was so horrible that the examiners said that they had never seen such horrific details in their lifetime. There were widespread blunt force injuries on Takoda's body, including both fresh and healing abrasions across the head, torso, and extremities. Internal bruising was found in the stomach lining. The autopsy also revealed severe pulmonary edema, which is when the lungs are filled with fluid, which suggests drowning. He had been branded with 4 letters, starting with the letter T on his back. The entire buttocks area displayed extensive bruising and swelling down to the bone. The most critical, albeit not externally visible injury, was severe neck bruising, comparable to injuries seen in severe cases like car accidents. The cause of death for Takoda turned out to be blunt force trauma, combined with compressive asphyxia and water submersion. And with this, the detective can be seen getting visibly disappointed and maybe even disgusted by the extent of Amanda's lies.
So obviously he drove you crazy.
I don't want to say that.
Well, I mean,
I was
he
on the
irritated
verge.
you. He made you angry. You sit here and talk about how he stunk.
Yeah, I ain't slept in days, but I wouldn't say that. Yeah, at times he did drive me crazy. At times I did not know what I would do, but I would always try to stay level-headed and just see through another day.
But I'm sure there's times that you didn't. And we know you didn't. I mean, in all honesty, we have witnesses, obviously, that were there when you were doing this stuff to him. Yeah, all these marks that are not self-created.
Yeah, half of them are not. Some of them, like I said, I stank him at times.
Would you stink him with?
A spatula.
A spatula?
Yeah. It was flat. Yeah.
What is this here?
That's a rash. That's from his nastiness. Just a rash. Laying in his piss every day, ate his back up.
No, that's not.
That, I don't know what that is. I thought it was a rash. I've been seeing it for weeks. I actually thought it was a rash.
Maybe if you took him to the doctor, you would know.
What could I have done to cause that? What causes that? Drag him where?
Down the steps.
No, ma'am.
On the carpet?
No, ma'am. We don't have any carpet. I did not drag him. I mean that. We don't have no carpet. I didn't drag the boy.
You didn't see the tear in his butt today, in his anal area?
The tear?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The
Big
tear.
I think it's swollen, but I didn't.
It's a day cut. Yep. A tear.
It's possible.
Did you have to hold him down in the bathtub? Was he fighting you to get out of the bathtub?
Mm-mm. No. No, ma'am. Not at all.
So as nasty as he is,
James spanked him before. Amanda spanked him before. I mean, we all use the same thing. The spatula. It ain't never been nothing heavy. I just pop him on the butt a couple times, whap, 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 get right. I mean, because he obviously just keep trying to hurt himself.
Get right before what? You started saying
See, that's the mind games. It's not before what? It's get right before you hurt yourself. You know what I mean? Yeah, before you endanger yourself.
When you spank him, what do you spank him with?
My hand.
Your hand, you don't use anything else?
Mm-hmm.
Just your hand?
Yeah. And that's rarely that, because he was thinking so damn bad that if I touch him, that I'm gonna smell for days.
He said if he touches his own son, he's going to smell for days.
Is the final aspect of abuse he inflicted on Takota, emotional. We cannot be sure if Takota ever felt loved or if he knew what love, care, and support was in the last few years of his life. Nobody wanted to touch him, and he was forced to live alone in a dark attic, completely naked while getting punished and abused daily. There wasn't a single thing that Al didn't put him through.
That's what it looks like to me.
Don't know what that is. I'm telling you, never seen it. Besides the fact, when I did see it, I just thought it was a rash.
So all these marks are probably spatula marks? Is that what you're telling me? I mean,
yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
Is that what killed him?
I would say the spatula marks did not. But possibly throwing him around or stepping on him or putting your knee on his chest or something along those lines.
Yeah, I did this morning, but it was only to keep him from hurting himself. Like, he didn't want to come off the thing that was in his butt. Like, he wanted to fight for it. I'm like, I ripped it out and he was still, you know what I mean, aggressive. I'm like, you need to lay down, settle down. He didn't want to lay down. I just tried to get him to calm down for a second.
So he's naked, you pulled this thing out of his butt, which probably hurt. I mean, I'm guessing it hurt him.
It must have. I didn't know at the time. I mean, and I don't do the butt thing. I don't know nothing about it. What hurt was my pride and my feelings, and the fact that he's up there doing that. He know how embarrassing that is.
He's saying that he's hurt, his pride, his feelings, how he feels embarrassed. He's not looking at the living conditions, how he's left his son alone, how he's neglected him, he's abused him, he's force-fed him his own feces. He's beat him, he's kicked him, he smacked him, he punched him, he stood on top of him.
I'm like, what are you doing? Give me that. And that's when it squirted out, man. And that's when I addressed it right away. That's it. I go back downstairs and I sit down. And I just watch him to see if he's going to do anything else that can cause more harm than a spanking. And that's what I waited for. And I just sat there and I watched him. And that was it. He didn't do anything. After that. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
And then at some point he calls you up there again?
Yes, ma'am. Yup, and that's when I went to go check on him. And that's when he started not looking good. Yeah, so he was laying on his side, doing that, something, and he just putting on the show again, you know what I mean?
He puts on a show like he's having a seizure?
Oh, yeah. 24/7. Like this.
Are you sure he's putting on a show? I mean,
yes,
he has been to the hospital.
Yes, ma'am. It was not a seizure because, look, I can tell him, like, stop it right now. And here's the sucker.
We've noticed Al's self-centered perspective a couple of times during this interrogation, but now he's admitted it himself. But the craziest part is Takota wasn't doing anything to hurt Al's ego. After standing on Takota with his full weight, Al went downstairs to watch TV. Unsatisfied, he poured hot sauce on Takota's butt, dragged him down the stairs, and asked him to wash his shorts. Takota, who had just been crushed and beaten, couldn't really walk or do anything. That's when Al almost drowned him. He took Takota back upstairs, where he immediately curled into the fetal position. Al then used the chair leg. Through the CCTV monitor, it looked like Al was moving his hand back and forth. The first thought would have been hot sauce, but when Al came back downstairs, he tossed the chair leg behind the dresser. The biggest surprise is that after doing all these terrible things, he still thinks that the detectives will believe his story. They'd been calm so far, but at this point, even they're being sarcastic and are openly contradicting Al's lies with evidence.
I'm afraid for my life. Yeah. I'm hurt that my child is gone. It's unbelievable. Like, I still don't believe right now. Dead, gone, not coming back.
You're afraid for your life?
Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm. Your child said, and you're afraid for your life.
I'll be spending the rest of my life in prison. I'm 30 years old. What I'm going to do for the rest of my life, all because I tried to raise my child the right way and he became defiant and we ran into a situation. You know what I mean? People knew what he was doing. Yeah, but at the same time, it wasn't for them to do anything about it. It was for me to do something. I feel like I should have really just tried harder on getting some better counseling. Yeah. But we in Ohio at that too. That's automatic death penalty.
He can only think of himself. The death penalty. Something he actually deserves, I think.
What are you thinking is death penalty?
They just changed the law.
I'll look into that. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
Al is facing the primal instinct of self-preservation that borders on narcissism. He's seeking some assurance and sympathy from the detectives. But people who prey on the defenseless receive no sympathy, not even in prison, which is full of hardened criminals. Al Mutahan McLean was arrested and charged with 1 count each of murder, rape, and kidnapping, in addition to 3 counts of child endangerment. His girlfriend, Amanda, and her sister, Jennifer, pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter and endangering a child. On September 29, 2021, Judge J. Dennis Adkins, presiding over the Montgomery County Common Pleas Court, sentenced Al to 51 years to life in prison, the maximum allowable penalty. Eligible for parole only in 2072 at the age of 83, release conditions include registering as a Tier 3 sex offender and a violent offender. Amanda's sentence ranges from 22 to 27 and a half years, contingent on her behavior in prison, while Jennifer has been ordered to serve 8 to 12 years. While Takoda's passing may have spared him from further pain, the manner of his death at the hands of his own father, the very person entrusted with his care and protection, remains deeply distressing. Given the context, we invite you to share your thoughts and insights on this case. Why do you...
Let me just thank the YouTuber that shared this video. It was the video was by Real Crime Psychology. Thank you for sharing the primarily their interrogations. I'm going to go over a few more videos. So let me go to the comments for just a second. I'm sorry, R.I.P. Obs. Molly is a filthy animal that you're crying. It is extremely sad. Hi, Sinclair Reed. She says, I don't understand why they allowed this to happen. I've seen the little boy's photos. He's just the cutest kid. I know. I know. She says she's appreciate me bringing the worst stories. The victims do deserve a voice. Thank you. I believe the father is a coward too. Less than a coward. Sinclair says, when a child jumps out of a 2nd or 3rd story window to escape, shows anyone the kid was trying to escape and fight for his life. And that's what we're here for. We're really here to fight for the kids. primarily the kids. They're gone. He's gone. The next story I'm going to bring is 3 little boys. They're gone. And we have to be the voice for these kids in situations where they're powerless. They're little children. The next case is totally different than this one, but it's still the same result, a heinous crime. Rocco Love says, I remember this case. It's unfathomable. I forget what he was sentenced to. He was sentenced to 51 years. He would have to do 51 years before the chance of parole. His girlfriend, she received 22 to 27 years. And then the sister, she received 8 years, I believe, to 14 years. They're saying sadistic, evil. Yeah, the house was beyond just disgusting. So I'm going to go to the next video. We have 3 more videos left because I want to give you a total view in this case because we do have video to demonstrate what happened. So let me share my screen. And thank you for spending this time with me. You know, I really appreciate it. This video is by Dayton 24/7 Now. It's titled Takota Collins' Father, 2 women sentenced for the child's death. 3 minutes.
The irony is that these defendants, especially McLean, will receive better treatment incarcerated in the penal system in Ohio than these 3 defendants gave and treated to Takota Collins. And that's a damn shame.
That's Montgomery County Prosecutor Matt Heck after learning the sentences for the 3 people who pleaded guilty in the Takota Collins case. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Megan O'Rourke. Adam has the night off. We have team coverage tonight. We start with Dayton 24/7 Now's Chelsea Sick, who was in court today. She breaks down the judge's reaction to this case during sentencing this morning. Chelsea.
The judge was very upfront with all 3 defendants inside the Montgomery County Court building earlier today. He says their actions led to the death of Takota Collins. Now McLean will have to register as a Tier 3 sex offender, a violent offender, and could spend his life behind bars.
This is the most horrific case of abuse and torture that this court has ever seen.
Judge Dennis Adkins expressing his disgust before sentencing Almutahan McLean to 51 years to life in prison. According to prosecutors, McLean abused, tortured, and used a foreign object to rape his own son, Takota Collins. Earlier this month, McLean pleaded guilty to murder, rape, kidnapping, and child endangering.
Although you admit what you did, I do not believe you fully understand the depravity of your actions in torturing this innocent child.
McLean's attorney, Michael Boer, arguing his client isn't a monster. After sentencing, he told reporters, quote, this was a very difficult case, but wouldn't speak further. McLean's girlfriend, Amanda Hines, pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter and child endangering. Hines lived with McLean, and prosecutors say she witnessed Takota's abuse and torture, but never reported it.
I apologize, and if I could trade my life for his right now, I would.
The judge didn't buy it and said as someone who claimed to have been a mother figure to Takota, he didn't believe she was truly remorseful.
Instead of acting like a mother and protecting Takota, as a mother should, you either participated and you further facilitated the isolation, torture, and the resulting death.
I talked one-on-one with Hines' attorney shortly after she was sentenced to 22 to 27 and a half years behind bars. He says she shows remorse and knows she could have saved Takota's life.
And that weighs heavily on her. She will live in her own hell
while she serves her term in prison and after she gets out.
Jennifer Ebert, who lived with McLean and Hines during the abuse, was sentenced to 8 years behind bars. Her attorney, Jeff Gramza, told us after sentencing that she was also remorseful. All 3 defendants will get credit for time served, which is more than 600 days for each of them. Still, McLean will be in his 80s when he's eligible for parole.
What you did was pure evil. You provided no mercy to your son and deserve no mercy from this court.
Takoda's grandma was at the sentencing today. She told us she couldn't go on camera, but a victim advocate did read a statement for her asking for justice for Takoda.
Two more videos. Not sure what that one is. Sorry about that. Let's go over the last 2 videos. This video is Al McLean gets 51 years to life. Prosecutors vow to fix the system. And this video is by WDTN TV.
This is the most horrific case of abuse and torture that this court has ever seen.
Also today, justice served for a murdered 10-year-old boy this morning. The father of 10-year-old Takota Collins was sentenced to 51 years to life today in Montgomery County Court. Al McLean tortured and murdered Collins in 2019. 2 News reporter Madeline Ashley is live downtown with sentencing details and county prosecutor plans to make corrections in our child care systems. Madeline.
John, I'm standing outside the Montgomery County Courthouse where earlier today, County Prosecutor Matt Heck said there were many times that child service workers could have stepped in and potentially saved Collins' life. And now Heck and his team are working to right those wrongs, fixing a system that failed one of its own.
You were very good at manipulating children's services and what you told them. Even with plenty of blame to go around, it is you alone who abused, tortured, and killed your son.
Along with McLean's sentencing, live-in fiancé Amanda Hines sentenced to a minimum 22 years, and her sister Jennifer Ebert a minimum of 8 years. McLean's sentencing included rape by force, 1 count of murder by felonious assault, kidnapping, and 3 counts of child endangerment.
But we had one goal, and I had one goal, and that is never, ever let what happened to Takota Collins happen to any other child in our community.
Following the sentencing, Montgomery County Prosecutor Matt Heck and his team vowing to strengthen the system and do right by our county's most vulnerable children.
My office and I have had meetings with everyone from teachers to caseworkers, law enforcement to caregivers in an effort to overhaul how child abuse investigations are reported, how they're handled and investigated.
This year alone, the county's Child Protection Unit has seen an increase of more than 30% in children's service cases turned over to Heck's office.
While I'm certain it isn't a perfect system, it is a vast improvement over how it was done in the past.
Takota Collins' December 2019 death caused by water submersion, blunt force trauma, and asphyxia. During McLean's sentencing, Judge Dennis Atkins addressing what McLean did to his son.
What you did was pure evil. You provided no mercy to your son and deserve no mercy from this court.
McLean will be eligible for parole once he hits his 51-year sentencing, and Prosecutor Heck says that he encourages anybody who might be experiencing child abuse or know someone who is to reach out for help. If you hear something, say something. Live in Dayton, Madeline Ashley, 5 on 2.
I agree about that. If you hear something, say something. If you need help, call 911, ask for help, get the help that you need. There's support, there's services. People want to help you. albeit you might be in a terrible situation, there is light beyond this. I'm going to do the last video. Okay. Hang in there with me, please. This is the last one. This is by WDTN TV. It's titled Takota Collins Estate Reaches a $3.25 million settlement with Montgomery County.
Well, the estate of the 10-year-old boy who was killed in December of 2019 has settled a lawsuit with Montgomery County.
The lawsuit alleged that Children's Services failed to protect Takota Collins from his abusive father despite numerous warnings. And 2 News reporter Adam Rife is live outside Children's Services to explain the new information we learned today.
Mark and Brooke, under the terms, the county will pay out $3.25 million. The attorney for the estate says that shows they are taking responsibility. Now, in addition to the money, the family has been told that changes are being made to the system so no other child will fall through the cracks again.
This was a horrific case, and I don't believe that there's any amount of money that would, ease the pain of this family.
Attorney Michael Wright says the settlement reached this week will never bring back 10-year-old Takota Collins, but it does help the family get closer to closure.
The goal always for the family is to try to come to some type of resolution. We don't always know if that's going to happen, but, we were happy that we were able to come to a resolution.
The coroner determined Takota died in December of 2019 of blunt force trauma, asphyxia, and water submersion. His father, Almutahan McLean, was charged with murder. He was also indicted for the rape of a child under 13, felonious assault, and endangering children. Takota allegedly had been abused for years, but Montgomery County Job and Family Services did not have an open case on Collins at the time he died, despite many reports. Children's Services and the county have since conducted several reviews and instituted several policy changes. The county declined to speak about this settlement, saying the ongoing case prevents them from commenting.
The fact that they are paying this sum of money, it does show that, yes, they have accepted responsibility, that they deem themselves to be culpable of not protecting this child.
Back out live here at Children's Services, we did reach out to Takota Collins' mother today. Messages were not returned. There is still a criminal case ongoing. That's against Dayton Children's Hospital. We'll talk more about that and the changes this case has spurred coming up tonight at 5.
Sinclair, his mom, she was living in a different state and she was trying to locate Takota. When she found out where he was, she was trying to connect so she could see him, talk to him, and she found out some of the things that was going on with him. And just months after she connected with him, his death occurred. So at one point, Takota was in the foster care system, going from one home to another. His dad was able to obtain full custody, and this was in the state of Wisconsin. Him and his girlfriend, they moved from Wisconsin to Ohio. Mom lost touch of Takota. When she found out where he was, she was trying to connect through dad to get the visitation, to see him, to talk to him. When she found out some of the things that was going on with him, she then had a welfare check done. She wanted a welfare check done. But months after the initial connection, this is what happened. He died. He passed. He got abused, tortured, beaten, drowning, all of that. He died. She just didn't have enough time to really regain entry back into his life for visitation, to see him, to see what was going on with him. Dad probably blocked it, probably prevented it. Of course, she didn't want him to see Takota. They said that he had bruising, swelling, lacerations over his entire body. So this little boy, he's not going outside. He's not going to school. He's homeschooled. He's not going to the park. He doesn't have any friends. They kept him upstairs. So if people were to even come to the house, they're not even seeing Takoda. Yeah, I think the estate for Takoda, I'm not sure who will have access to those funds, Rocco, because that's over $3 million. But I would hope that not just changing the law, changing how things are handled by the child services, also doing a better job to see not just if you get a report from school or from a doctor, which Takoda wasn't going to the doctor and he wasn't in school, which makes it hard. Who checks in on these kids that are not in the system in any way? They're not in school. They're not going to the doctor. Who sees about these kids that are homeschooled, right? I don't know how that money was structured. I don't know who's over the estate for Takoda's estate. So I can't speak to how that money could potentially and possibly be used. But I know the greater impact is each one of us in society. If we see something, say something, do something, try to get help, try to get those services for the most vulnerable in our community, which is our children, who we love, we care about. And some of these kids, they're falling through the cracks. Nobody spoke up. Nobody tried to get Takoda the needed help, the needed medical attention. When he jumped out of that window, that should have been an indicator. And this is probably what triggered the lawsuit. The lack of response, the lack of an investigation, the lack of help, services. Did anybody talk to him? Did anybody see him? Did he go to therapy? If he did, what did he say? If they saw him, they would have seen the bruises. If they talked to him, they asked him questions, he would have had to admit to what was happening. I don't want to get too far away from the fact that his father, he wanted to gain the custody of him, full custody, to then turn around and be a monster and beat Takoda every day for years, leading up to and causing his death. The next case I'm going to bring is another case involving children. I want you to tell me what you think about this new collection that I'm calling Monster. And I don't want to get too far away from why we're here. If you're able to help in your community, please do so. I want you to remember, please stay smart, stay safe, stay savvy, be well, all my friends. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I really, really appreciate you and your support and us working together to uncover all of this hidden evil. I'm going to remove myself and I'm going to put the picture of Takota up to end this video in memory of him, the time that he did have, and hopefully his life will still be impactful as a memory and a reminder to others the evil that exists. Bye, everybody.